So Gears and Blue Resonance Star Protocol is quite an important topic because it's going to provide you quite a lot of options in terms of progression with your character. It's going to define what kind of stages in terms of bosses and different dungeons you will be able to complete and so on and so forth. So progressing with your gears in a right way and specifically for your build, for your spec, for your character is going to be a huge aspect. And in this video let's discuss it in a little bit of details, where to farm, how to farm, and so on and so forth. So we are going to start with the topic about the ability score. Basically, let's say it's your total power. Where it comes from? Well, it's coming from talents, skill trainings, from gears, and the most amount of it, as you can see, is coming from gears. It's going to come from emblems as well and modules, but that's later on when these options are going to be unlocked, when we're going to progress far enough. With the talents there is nothing extraordinary. You're just progressing, you're filling the tree until the moment you're going to unlock your spec. And with the skills it's quite an important one aspect later on when we're going to talk specifically about your specialization and certain skills that you want to use for your spec specifically. In my case, as you can see, I already switched to actually the Moonstrike spec. I unlocked it, and here I'm just progressing right now just with whatever I have. It doesn't really matter that much because the beginning for the Stormblade class is going to be easier with the Moonstrike spec, because when we're talking about the Iaido spec, it's more restricted in terms of the stats and imagines that you want to have for your class specifically and amount of ability points to make it work properly. That's why starting with the Moonstrike spec, in my opinion, is going to be just a better option. And about some class differences in terms of the different specs, I mean, I'm going to speak in upcoming videos and how they're actually working. But yeah, when we're talking about the Iaido class, crit is going to be really important, and as you can see, even with all the gears that I have here, I have already 3 legendary pieces. I have only 13%, almost 14%, and for you to keep in mind, 5% are going from the base stat, so in total I have 435, which is almost 9% crit rate, which is insane. So yeah, it's going to take quite some time, because when we're going to specifically gears, here you can see, for example, I'm also working on mastery, because this is going to be an important as well for Iaido class specifically. But this is the first legendary weapon of level 40 which I was able to get myself. These stats are not the most optimal for Iaido class, but they're kinda good for the Moonblade spec, which is not that bad. For the, what was that? For the gauntlets, as you can see, I have as well mastery and mastery. Yeah, I was prioritizing this parameter as well, because this is going to be kinda important for future progression. But again, agility, crit here, for example, here you can see as well crit, and actually mastery I have here. For the boots here, as you can see, I have as an additional one crit, but they're not the best, quite honestly. I ideally need to switch them. I'm not focusing that much on rare gears. I'm waiting for the moment when I'm going to be able to farm legendaries. Here for the earrings, they're almost perfect. Crit, mastery, everything what is needed. For the necklace, crit with the most amount and a little bit of mastery. For the rest amount of stats and gears that I have here, they're not really that important, it's not that huge. But overall, when we're talking about the gears and the farming aspect, well, basically you're going to be gatekept to a certain extent, because when we're going here, for example, to this location, which is the Unitex research facility, you can go upstairs, and here are different places, different spots where you can actually have a look at the gears that you are able to farm, and some of them they're locked. So right now we have Goblin Lair being unlocked, and here you are able to farm exactly gauntlets and earrings with a certain chance, and I believe there is certain pity, you're able to get yourself weapons as well. So I got from the goblin lair the weapon, and we got ourselves the Tina's mind realm. Here we're going to receive ourselves helmets and necklaces. Yeah, with recommendations about the gear farming, you can see the recommended ability score is being provided here, and you can even tap on evaluate button and it's going to show you the optimal amounts of stats that you need to have for your character, for your class specifically, and if you're lacking with some of them, you should work on them more specifically. When we're going, for example, to the hard difficulty, here you can see that you're going to actually farm yourself already legendary gears. Obviously the recommendations are higher in terms of ability score, in terms of the stats that are recommended here, just because it's going to take you quite a lot of time and survivability and damage, you need to provide a lot of it. So yeah, it's not going to be that easy, let's say. That's why working on your ability score is going to be important. It's basically going to define how many and how easily you will be able to farm gears. For the goblin lair, again, gauntlets and earrings. As you saw, I had both of them, and exactly here I was lucky to get myself the legendary weapon. As well, you are able to get yourself a certain amount of drops of different gears from the world bosses when we're going to the monster hunt here. We can have a look at different bosses, for example, drops, and yeah, you can see some of them, they might drop rare. If we're going further, going here, for example, here you can see that from this boss you're able to receive gears, but the drop rates, they are really low, so I wouldn't really recommend to spend all of your time farming bosses. It's not really worth it. Later on you will be able to get yourself all the necessary gears from specifically this Unit X facility. And for example, in 2 days, in 1 day and 9 hours, we're going to receive another one realm where we will be able to farm ourselves specifically gears and rings. By that moment, I believe already tomorrow we will be able to start farming legendary gears here in Tina's mind realm, and we will be able to upgrade ourselves helmets and necklaces, which is going to be helpful with the further progression. Again, so in terms of gears and the stats that you should aim for, here you're not limited in terms of runs. You always are going to see the recommended stats for your class when you're going to gears, and you're going to see that, for example, for my moon spec, haste is going to be important, luck is going to be important, so they're going to be marked with this sign, the thumb up, and agility as well. For your classes, this might be different. You may ask me about the crafting stuff. So for example, when we're going to the life skills, we're going to smelting, or we're going to weaving, you can see that, for example, in regulars you can get yourself certain gears, and in smelting certain weapons, and somewhere else, I believe it's here, yeah, certain weapons as well, but for different classes. So is it worth to really focus on that and try to rush as fast as you can? Not really, because most likely you're going to receive for yourself gears and weapons even earlier than you're going to reach certain level of your life skills, and it's going to take quite some time. It's most likely for players who are going to start later just to, you know, catch up faster. So not really worth it. But yeah, to sum up the most important parts, farming on a daily basis like gears until you're going to receive yourself certain legendary pieces which are going to feed your class to work properly for you. Yeah, it's going to be kind of important. About the rare gears, it's not really that important. You're going to destroy it as soon as you're going to receive a better option. And I almost forgot that here actually on the first floor you're able to farm yourself certain gears as well with the 2 attempts per day. They're random, I believe, if I recall it correctly, so you can get whatever. Yeah, but I mean, it's like a good addition, but 2 attempts per day for you just to keep in mind. So about gear enhancements, this is also going to be helpful. We got ourselves today a refinement option where you're able to get yourself some additional stats, and you're also kind of capped in terms of levels. So my suggestion here is to work and refine all of your available slots to the maximum possible level. By the way, about materials, for example, the crystals which are required here, you're able to get some of them from the owner shop, from the exactly unstable space, from trading center, won't really recommend, and you most not going to see it there, sometimes in the mystery store, about different materials which are provided here. I'm going to talk about them a little bit later, but yeah, for now the maximum level is level 3. Afterwards, in 4 days, 9 hours, we'll be able to progress further. As well, quite an important aspect is going to be about reforging your gears, and it's more like relevant for legendary because you're going to have a level of perfection up to 100, so you will be able to upgrade it to maximum level. And the way how it's working, you need certain materials here which are growth items, and these are reforged stones level 40 for level 40 gears. You can use them for whatever gears you have. It doesn't really matter, because as soon as you're going to get yourself a better option, you're going just to dismantle it and you're going to get all your reforged stones back again, and you will be able to reuse them once again. So yeah, as you can see, whenever you're going to reforge gear, you're going to progress with the certain stats that you have here, and you're going to unlock and at some point reroll one additional stat. It's going to be random, so you need to have a look at what stats you're missing and which one of them you're going to need for your class specifically. Even if you're going to reach level 100 of perfection, you will be able to reroll. Yeah, you're going to spend reforged stones, and I'm actually not sure if they're going to be returned after reaching level 100, but this additional parameter, this additional stat is going to be really helpful. As you can see, I progressed with quite some gears already, and I reached almost the maximum level for the most important parts and with some proper stats, let's say. But yeah, still some work is required. Anyways, again, it's going to take quite some time. With progression, that's pretty much it, and with upgrading gear, that's how I was able to get myself such an amount of ability score, and I'm almost ready to farm the legendary gears from today's dungeon. For the crafting and for getting yourself materials actually for refining gears, we're talking about the life skills, and that's why specifically mineralogy is going to be an important one life skill to work on, because these are materials which you need to get yourself to actually go afterwards to smelting and craft for yourself all that stuff, all these materials which are needed for refinement. When we're talking about energy here that you're going to get yourself on a daily basis, you need to spend it wisely. And a huge recommendation here when we're talking about the focus type of crafting, you need to really work a little bit more specifically about getting yourself these materials for refinement of your gears. Otherwise you're going to lack with a certain amount, especially if you're a free-to-play player and you won't be able to buy everything from the trading market. This is going to be an important one aspect. These stones which you need right now for these materials specifically, and I have quite some of them. As you can see, you also need the burning powder. Well, this one material you can use and get yourself or from the trading center, which is not really that great, or from the artisanry by basically crafting. For crafting it, you need to get yourself the charcoal, and you're able to buy it, or again get yourself from crafting. To get it from crafting, you need the other material which you can only buy. But yeah, for the powder, when we're going to the trading center, 140, and it's unbound Luno, which is quite inexpensive, so you won't be able to really farm it. So my suggestion when you're working on your life skills for artisanry, at least in your mastery, unlock the burning powder to be able actually craft some of them. This is going to be helpful, as well as for these materials which we have here, you can get them from exchange. When we're going here, as you can see, you can use the bound Luno. Maybe it's not really cheap, but it's going to really worth it and be helpful. So that's the only skill which I would suggest you to open from the life skills which are not related to mineralogy, gemology, smelting and gem crafting. Only this one. But yeah, first focus are going to be mineralogy and smelting, because you will be able basically to farm on a daily basis for yourself materials for refining gears. And again, this is going to help you with basically everything, all your stats, and easier progression further on. With that being said, I believe that's pretty much it. I covered the most important parts about the gears, and I'm going to provide also some videos about different dungeons and how to actually progress there, how bosses are working, because I see quite a lot of mistakes from players. Maybe for some of you this is going to be helpful. With that being said, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, and see you guys in the next one. Take care.